right, so I'm joined here with Tommy Blom from Sweden, for our 360 interview. So Tommy, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me. It's nice being on here.
Okay.
Looking forward to this.
My pleasure. And more importantly, with COVID and everything happening, I'm sure some people are probably already asking, like they're probably thinking, what's going on with COVID and everything. So how are things treating you over there?
It's treating us like the rest of the world in a way. I mean, things are shut down for a while. We're shut down. We're less affected, I guess. Because we're back to being able to do sports again. Kids sports has been on the run all the time, but now adult sports is getting back, and also martial arts training is getting back. So I don't have a club right now, so it hasn't affected me that much. But the other clubs, they can get up and running again. So
okay,
and of course it's affecting economy and everything else. It makes life much harder than it has to be.
Now,
yeah.
Tommy, I don't want to butcher your dossier, but maybe you can run through everyone and just give them a very quick snapshot on who you are and what you do, so that way everyone knows exactly, for those who are uninitiated with Tommy Blom. The brief version.
Yeah, so basically I started physical training when I was about 7 with soccer for a really brief time. Then I went to handball when I was 11, like the Olympic style European handball. Found Krav Maga when I was 22 after serving in the army. We have conscript army here, so I served there.
Yeah.
And then I haven't looked back since. In about 2005, I started doing kettlebell training. So right now I'm basically teaching Krav Maga, kettlebells, physical training, and traveling around the world. Not right now, but before COVID hit. So that's the really, really brief one. I'm an expert 5 with KMG. I'm a certified master instructor for Strong First. I'm also global instructor with Ground Force Method, which is a bodyweight system, and I don't know how many other educations in physical movements and so on I've been through. I've kind of spent the last, basically since 2005 when I started the kettlebell training, I understood how important the physical movement is for Krav Maga and for the fighting. So it's kind of, Krav Maga has been the base all the time.
Yeah.
I've also done MMA for a while. I started a really long time ago in 1999, I think, with my first street fighting training here in Gothenburg. And then it took a while, and when I was a few years back, I did, or a lot of years back actually, I did my first pro fight in MMA. So I've done 3 pro fights in MMA also. I got the 3-0 record, so I'm happy with that. I'd say that's the brief version.
Excellent. So let's go to the actual formalized structure of the 360 talk, which is all about Krav Maga and all things that branch off it. How did you first get into Krav Maga?
So again, going back, I left the army and I was thinking about doing Taekwondo because I wanted to do something else. I played handball all my life.
Yeah.
And then I was returning a video to a video store back in the days when you were using VHS, right? And I walked out of the store. 2 guys walked in with Krav Maga shirts on. This was 94 in Sweden. Yeah. And I started walking back home. I was like, no, I need to go back and ask what that is. So I walked back, asked, and that's how I started Krav Maga. They explained to me what Krav Maga was, and I just started training when they started up the first the club.
So were they students or were they instructors themselves?
They were instructors. They've been through an instructor course with Eyal in Israel.
Okay. Okay. Oh, excellent. And so how old were you when that happened?
I was 22 at the time.
22. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And
actually now I'm getting to, if I count the like official date, it's 26 years for me doing Krav Maga in 29th of August this year.
wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And like basically, like I like asking this question, and some people probably haven't visualized the answer for it. But what are your Krav Maga aspirations with Krav Maga?
I mean, my aspirations right now, it's just to continue teaching and try to develop my skills and try to develop the skills of the people that I teach, and try to make Krav Maga something that's really accepted and something that, so that people really understand what it is, what we're doing and why we're doing it. And in that process, I also really like to get people to get as proficient as possible so that they can teach it. Since I teach a lot of the GICs, the instructor courses, I mean, that's the main goal for me.
Yeah.
To make sure that people understand how good this thing is, if it's done correctly. Yeah. I mean, you see a lot of stuff that's not really Krav Maga out there, but you know, to make sure that the legacy of Emmi is spread, and then that's my main thing with Krav Maga. And I like the connection between the physical part, I mean, as how you move your body, and make that connection through a lot of the striking, footwork, and all that stuff, to make sure that the connection between brain and body works, and make people to understand that, and that brings them into being more proficient. Okay. All right.
And in Israel, we were talking once with Runa and that, having dinner, and you were saying that you had actually met Emmi. You had actually had a chance to meet him once when you first started. What was that like?
It was really profound. I mean, this was 1995. Me and another guy from Sweden was in Israel for a training trip. And it was supposed to be a group, but it became two guys. So basically we had private sessions with Eyal for the week.
Wow.
And then we,
awesome.
That was about it. And then we met Emmi at his coffee shop in Netanya.
Yeah.
And meeting him was, I mean, it was big. Maybe I didn't really understand at that time how big it was to meet him. You know, I was brand new to Krav Maga, and I met this really, really cool old dude who knew everything and started the system. And I mean, I was young at the time, but the more I think about it, it becomes more, the bigger it gets. You don't always, how do you say, understand how good things are when you have them when you're young. But so the meeting was really relaxed. We sat down, we talked, we had coffee and cakes, obviously, of course. And he showed us a little bit of Krav Maga, and we just talked. And I was actually in that day welcomed into the family of Krav Maga by Emmi, which is again, back at the time, I didn't really understand how profound that was, but as the years go and progress, it's it's a big day.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what to you is waiting over the horizon? What's the next big thing for you? What's the next big goal with Krav Maga for you?
Actually, I don't have a really big thing waiting over the horizon. For me right now, it's just keep grinding and trying to do the things I said before, trying to get people to understand, try to drive this thing forward and improve. I like to look at how things are taught. I like to look at how things are executed.
Yeah.
I mean, from me as an instructor towards the students, I like to connect the things with, again, as I said before, with the physical parts, the linking between in your body, and make that connection to make it easier for people to understand, really. So there's no big thing on the horizon really right now, unfortunately. It's all the same. You just grind on and try to make the best thing you can.
That's awesome. That's still awesome. I like that. And one of my questions that I really like, because obviously I tend to think that every instructor has their own teaching style, their own style of technique as well. You know, they're different type of fighter, different type of aptitude in Krav Maga, and that tends to reflect when you see certain people move. How would you describe your style of teaching for students?
I think I'd call it pretty basic.
Yeah.
That I really want the basics to stick before I progress to anything else. So in that case, in that sense, I call it a little bit like traditional in a way. I don't want to rush things. I want people to, as I said, understand why they do things. And then I like to progress it into scenarios and so on in the end. But I'd say it's stylistically traditional in a way. But mainly I want people to understand, all right? So that they can process that information and make it their own. I mean, as we know, everybody has their own body style, movement, mobility, strength, size. Everything's different from everybody.
Yeah.
So as long as I can give people the understanding and the details and the principles behind why things works and how things works, and then I like to let them find their style of Krav Maga so that it fits their body. I mean, you're shorter than me, so there's things that I can do that you can't, and you can benefit from the being shorter than me against me. So letting people to understand why they do things, how they do it, and then apply it so they can get their own style, right? Some people like kicking more. Some people like punching more. Some people like work more on working straight in. Some people work on keeping distance, if we look at sparring and so on. But we all have to find what suits us the best, so we can be the best version of ourselves if we need it. And connect that with the mental part, obviously. I mean, to get people to understand the reality of violence in a sense. I mean, we don't want to sugarcoat it too bad. When people get in, we don't want to scare them off, because a lot of people haven't seen violence and isn't really comfortable with it. So kind of gradually build that up.
Slowly introduce it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay. And on another side to that question, in terms of the style of teaching, in terms of personality, now Runa has a very comedic style. For instance, he likes to have a bit of fun. What would you describe your style as in terms of verbalizing to the students?
There's always a coffee cup in my hand, right?
Yeah.
No, I'd say I'm less comedic than Rune in
Yeah.
my teaching. Again, let's call it more traditional.
Okay.
And yeah, less comedic. It's so important for me to make people understand
Yeah.
that I know. I mean, I like to make jokes and so on, but I mean, I'm so focused on getting people to really understand, and I'm so focused on, because it's something that I feel is really important.
Mm.
So I get really, really focused when teaching, which can make me look not angry, but decisive.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, obviously you have to have some fun in training also. But
Yeah.
I mean, it goes up and down.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, but less comedic than Rune.
Yeah.
He's the funny guy.
Now, the next question I had for you is, do you train with your family at all? Like any family members involved in Krav Maga with you at all? Or?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the boys to train, but it's hard when they see it all the time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no family right now, so
yeah,
it's me and the boys. And yeah, I try to get them to train playfully. But I mean, you got kids, and you know how it is. It's hard to force them. If they don't like it, they don't like it.
It is. If you force them too much, they go the other way.
Yeah. So I mean, all you can do is try and play with it. But otherwise than that, no, not much family.
Okay. And I already know the answer to this question, and I'm sure everyone, majority of people who are watching are probably already know the answer to this as well, which is, do you have any other hobbies outside of Krav Maga?
Yeah, most people would know the answer to that. No, so yeah, physical training.
Yeah.
And for me, that is kettlebells. I mean, in 2005, I got introduced to kettlebell training. And as I said before, I started physical training and everything when I was like 11 with the handball. You know, you do push-ups, and then when you're around 15, they put you to the gym. So I mean, off season, you go to the gym, you lift weights, and I mean, I've done it, but it never got stuck to me in the same way that when I found kettlebells. That kind of, you know, it stuck with me immediately, okay? Because it felt like it was something that fitted my body. I'd say I'm more of a fast twitch person than a slow twitch person, which means I like the explosive lifts. And I also find that the training with kettlebells benefits fighters.
Yeah.
It benefits all athletes. It benefits all people. But I mean, me as a person doing martial arts, me as a person doing fighting, the connection between tension and relaxation, breathing, balance, explosive power, strength, grip strength, you know, all these things. I just fell for it immediately. And so I went to the instructor course in 2006. Actually became one of the first instructors in Sweden and I mean, now I teach it. So that's kind of like an ongoing thing for me. If I like something, I try to do the best of it, and to be able to do the best of it, I like to teach it. Because as soon as I start teaching it, I have to understand it more. I have to understand why for everything I do. I need to be able to answer questions. I need to be able to kind of, as I said before, develop somebody with their style. I need to be able to see the differences in how somebody moves. So kettlebell training, mobility with GFM, ground force method, barbell training, bodyweight training,
Yeah.
and I mean reading stuff about the related topics. I'm really bad at reading fiction. It's all facts. You know, you get stuck in one subject, you read about it.
Yeah, yeah.
So to constantly educate myself, to be able to do all those things, to be able to teach. I mean, that's one of the main things for me. I like to share knowledge, and to be able to do that, I need to improve myself all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that sounds great. Yeah, that's a very admirable quality. Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. In regards to the kettlebell side of things, let's make it a little bit clearer for everyone. Is there a particular type of, for that instructor out there who would like to follow a similar type of footstep, is there something that you could recommend for that person? You know, in terms of what course would be a good course for them to actually enroll in?
Yeah, so I work with the organization called Strong First, and the SFG1, the Strong First Giria instructor course, level 1, would be a perfect starting point for anybody who wants to learn kettlebell lifting. So it goes through 6 basic lifts, which is basically all you need. So if you ever do just one course and you want to be able to spread that to your students, I mean, as if you have a Krav Maga club, for instance, and you want to add physical training to it, the SFG1 would be a perfect choice. It has ballistic lifts. It has your grinds.
Yeah.
So you can get both work capacity, you can get strength, grip strength, conditioning, and everything. So that course is a perfect course to add to Krav Maga school, or to any martial arts school, really. Again, I'm biased because I've done it since 2005, but I haven't found anything that's easier and fits martial arts training better. Obviously, basic things like barbell lifts, like the basic, you know, bench, squat, and deadlifts, and body weight stuff like pull-ups. But if I take one, I'd put anybody through the SFG1, definitely.
Okay. All right. Excellent. And going back into the Krav Maga side of things, do you find Krav Maga therapeutic for you?
Yeah, I do. Because it becomes this pursuit of getting better, and finding the connection between movements. It becomes therapeutic in the way of you find a flow. Okay, so that both while doing it, but also that I have to put myself into the zone and try to, again, develop myself. As I'm training with somebody, you know, it's really hard for me not to teach somebody while training with them. But as I'm training by myself, it is therapeutic in the sense that you get this flow, you get into it completely, and you don't focus on anything else on the outside. You know, you go into the bubble and you do that. And I have the same thing for the kettlebell training. I do that. I kind of get into my training. I'm in training mode, and I try to keep everything else out, and you know, just deep focus on what I'm doing. And that puts me in that, I'd call it therapeutic, definitely.
Okay. All right. And the next question, which is somewhat related, which is, has your love of Krav Maga helped you through a difficult situation, or something that's helped you persevere through a difficult situation? Do you care to share?
Yeah, I mean, we all have ups and downs, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So the thinking of Krav Maga, the thinking of how we do things, and this, let's call it the perseverance there, has definitely helped pushing through hard times. Definitely. I mean, look at what happens now. Economical goes up and down, and we still have that mentality of kind of keep pushing through, even if stuff goes a little bit sideways sometimes. So yeah, it's definitely, it's helped. Yeah.
Okay. And here's another interesting question for you. Which, if any, has been your most difficult project or class? So I separate the two, because project could be a workshop or something like that you've had to teach at some point to a certain demographic or something like that, or it might be a class that you just went, oh, that was a tough one. So has there been any severely difficult time that you've had to teach and you've gone, okay, this is going to be a very long hour or 3 hours or whatever it happened to be?
So I'm not sure this is the answer you were expecting.
That's all right.
You know, I haven't formally gone through the kids instructor course, and when I had my gym, a while back, we're closed now. It's closed now. I would say that starting to teach kids was really hard, because it's something I never spent time on.
Yeah.
And it's completely different. It took a few times before I got used to it. Obviously it's really fun, but it's completely different to what I'm used to. So that was, I mean, the kids classes scared me a little bit, man.
Oh, look, especially if you get if there's that one kid he's marching to the beat of his own drum, you got a big problem.
So teaching, basically, as I feel pretty comfortable with what I do, because I've done it so much and so many times to so many different demographics. I mean, it's been everything from kids to special forces. I mean, it's the whole range. And I mean, at the gym in the end, I did 2 classes simultaneously. I did kettlebells on one mat and Krav Maga on the other one, which is not the best thing for the people training, but I felt pretty comfortable with it, running in between the mats, right? So it's just that if you get comfortable with your subject, it's usually that whoever's in front of you, they don't know what you know. And I mean, otherwise you wouldn't be there, right? And that's a comfort when you feel that, like, this is a new type of people or whatever it is. But again, the person in front of you doesn't know what you know. Otherwise you wouldn't be there. And even if they do know what you know, you still wouldn't want to be. I still wouldn't be there if they didn't want more, in that sense, right? So if a lot of the time you can, if the demon starts going in the head, you can go back to that, and that's the reason why we're here. And I mean, there will always be people who not like what you do, and not impressed with what you do. But again, the majority of the people are there because they want to learn.
No, that's a good point. Now, next question, which is, how important is the Krav Maga global community to you? How do you find that?
Obviously it's a big thing for me. I mean, I actually met Eyal 1994 for the first time for seminars in Sweden.
Right.
And I've spent 26 years there now. And the people around it, the community, everybody from beginners to experts to masters. It's definitely something that I really, really enjoy. I mean, you know how it is. We go to the camps. You know, we train in the day, and usually in the day I'm the instructor, and there's other people who's learning. But in the end, we put all that aside and we just have fun, enjoy. You get texts from people all over the world. I mean, I don't know how many countries I've been through, and you know, so it's definitely a really big part of my life. Definitely, yeah.
Okay, and what is the most memorable interaction you've had with someone regarding your Krav Maga journey?
So, regarding my journey, my own journey, so a really good friend, or a guy that I didn't spend a lot of time with, but somebody who's been really influential for me, was Elroy, who just passed, unfortunately. He was the only instructor in India. He traveled by plane. He was flying all around India teaching classes, regular classes, for I don't know how long, a year, before there was other instructors. And the dedication of that's inspiring to me.
Yeah,
I mean, definitely. So he had a big impact on me on how to look at things, to push through, and to keep that thing going. And obviously all the other people I meet around the organization. I mean, there's so much things you can learn from anybody else. I mean, we had our talks while working. That inspires me. So for me, it's kind of, I never stop learning from other people, because that's where knowledge is. It doesn't matter what level we are. It doesn't matter what I mean, if I'm higher than somebody in the system, that doesn't do anything. I mean, we step off the mats, we take off the gear, that person a doctor, or somebody who worked with security, or somebody had this experience, and every interaction with somebody can teach us something. And that's what I want to learn and keep going.
Oh, that's excellent. And the last question is, what do you hope people take away from Krav Maga, Krav Maga Global, I should say, as well?
It's big. That's a big question, man.
It's a huge question. That's why it's the end.
The obvious ones. I want people to feel safer. I want to make people walk home safely. You know, the saying, so that one may walk in peace, from Emmi. I mean, that's where I want people to go. That's why I teach it. And that it doesn't matter if that is like physically by walking, but it can also be the mentality of it. The comfort of knowing that you know something that can help you and your family. I want people to get in better shape. I want people to, because again, if you're in better shape, you naturally get more of the right hormones. So your mentality or your mindset changes. I want to make people better people. That's a big goal, but I mean, that's my aspiration, to help people with what I know. To become a better version of themselves in that sense. And from KMG, definitely the vast knowledge of people from all around the world. I mean, we have, I don't know how many people, countries now, 60 countries.
I think it's a little bit above 60, yeah,
around there. I mean, all the knowledge that we can get from there. Again, every interaction is something we can learn from, and I want people to learn from that. I want people to understand that.
Yeah.
So safety, comfort, and community, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Well, Tommy, that's the end of the formal interview. Is there anything else that you'd like to touch on before we officially finish up?
No. Well,
No?
I mean, in a way, I already said it. I want people to understand and really understand why Krav Maga is there, what's the purpose of it, how it actually works, and make sure that the let's call it the right version of Krav Maga is spread, so that it actually works for everybody. And again, everybody is different, so everybody has to find their style. And I think that's one of the main points. As the longer I do this, the more you see that everybody has to find their own style and don't get stuck on it has to be in a certain way. I mean, we have our gradings and testings, and that's the basics. But you have to find what you feel comfortable with for surviving in the street. If it doesn't feel comfortable for you, it won't work in that sense, right? So find your style, understand, know the basics, make sure that you internalize the basics, and make sure that the basics are filtered through your brain and your system, and make the best version out of it. And work on your footwork and your striking. That's where it's at. that's where it's at. And obviously the the mental part, the mindset. Movements doesn't mean anything if you don't do them when they're needed, right? So we need to put that into context. You know, so you kind of understand what you do, you practice it, and you apply it in the end, you know, and keep that process going, because we need that base to build everything on.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of making sure that the students understand why something has to be a certain way, because I feel like that they can execute it a lot better if they understand why. They're chasing that checkpoint, that little bit extra. They're emphasizing it that little bit more because they understand the importance of why it has to be a certain way. So I agree with you there. Another thing,
definitely the thing with the physical training. I mean, there's a reason for every unit or every force or anything that to have physical tests. I mean, because it's known that the better you are physically, the better you can perform. Also, you feel stronger mentally. By being physically stronger, you feel stronger, right? And there's this saying that stronger people are harder to kill, right? Because the more muscles you have, the stronger muscle you have, the more abuse you can take. If we talk about the self-defense situation, and the harder you can hold on to something, and the harder you can punch somebody. So the mix of that, the physical training, and the training itself, it's a must. We can't just rely on training. So the training has to have that physical part in it, and in the application you get the mental part. I mean, with verbal abuse and all those things. So, but again, I burn for the physical part of it. I mean, all fighters, all sports, go to physical training, right?
Mm.
The physical attributes will always play a role in a physical conflict.
Mm.
In a way, and we can't look away from that.
Mm.
We have to adapt it and put it into our training. There's a reason for how do you say, weight classes, right?
Yeah.
And the stronger you are, the smaller the gaps between the weight classes are.
Mm.
So it's there's this in general, just get strong and learn Krav Maga and you'll be good.
Well, couldn't have come from someone more qualified. There you go.
What was that?
Couldn't have come from someone more qualified. So there you go.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
All right. Well, Tommy, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Same.
And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Everyone can follow you. The website address is
tenacity.se.
That's it. And I'll put that in the link down below, and it will be popping up on the screen here. Thank you very much.
Instagram would be Tommy Blom.
Yeah, so Instagram and Facebook as well. You got Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I
got YouTube, but it's not really well managed and used for a while. So
that's all right. We'll talk you into it.
What was that?
We'll talk you into it.
Yeah. I'm trying to put out content on Instagram. It's been mostly kettlebell training now because of COVID and because I don't have a club. I don't have a training place right now. So I'm kind of a, rogue agent in that sense. So it's really hard to do any Krav Maga related stuff when I'm by myself, right?
Yeah.
You can, but I will definitely put more content on my Instagram regarding striking, Krav Maga in general. As soon as I get my hands on some people to do it with, and so and that'll probably end up on YouTube also, but if you nag me enough.
I'll nag you. So.
Cool.
All right. Thank you, Tommy. All right. So that's it, guys. Thanks.